Hello, and welcome to another episode of my Type 35 build. Work continues, well, partly in the engine compartment. The steering box has been installed in the car, and while the mount it sits on is pretty nifty, the box itself is the really cool piece. I chose to go with an aluminum case Corvair steering box. While Corvair steering boxes themselves are reproduced and as easy to find as a large fry, original aluminum boxes like this are a little less plentiful. I don't want to use the word rare, but it's totally rare. It's also lighter and looks way better than any cast iron box. It's been sandblasted, reversed, and rebuilt, so a hat trick there. The bracket it's mounted to proved simplicity was the most attractive option. Every design I thought of, speed holes, end plates, angle cuts, trapezoids, they just didn't look right for the car. Sounds weird, but true story. I scalloped the lower section of the box for some stylish weight savings, but it's still got a bit of a trim coming below the pitman arm shaft. The box sits proud of the frame, so the input shaft and the steering shaft will line up straight. I could have mounted the box lower, but I'd have needed to place it further forward on the frame, and I wanted the box to sit as far back as possible. But I couldn't sit it all the way against the firewall because I needed room for a yoga move I call downward panning camera. Well, that would have been cooler if you could actually see the clutch and brake master cylinders. Let me move from the driver over to the passenger, see if maybe we can't get, that Kodak moment. So, because the toe box bracket bolts between the master cylinders and the pedal box, the master cylinders sit outboard of the passenger's compartment and directly under the steering box mount. So, I needed a little bit of room in front of the firewall to feed the reservoirs up through. You're probably wanting to know what those are going to look like. So, stick around. I got some ideas for those. For now, moving back on the driver's side, the hole in the firewall has been drilled for the steering shaft to pass through, but if we look into the passenger's compartment, the dashboard hasn't been drilled. Yet. Up closer to the driver is the transmission tunnel, or drive shaft shields, or seat base extensions. Whatever fancy name you want to give them, they mount to the seat bases and keep soft people parts from touching hard driveline parts, which is never fun. Once the upholstery's done, the split down the center will allow the driver's and passenger seat bases to be removed independently to access the underseat storage. So, they probably won't get much attention when the car is done, but they deserve their 15 seconds of fame. And moving on, if we turn our attention back to the car's footwell, we can see what the driver's side looks like with the clutch and brake pedals in place. It's cozy, but not cramped. The pedals were situated so I was able to press and release them just fine with work boots on with no problems, so beats having to drive like an original Type 35, shoeless because they have no foot room. I have more foot room, so I'm more awesomer. Really awesome, though, is if you look between the brake pedal and the transmission, the speed hole in the toe box bracket lines up so nicely. And I really can't talk about nice things without taking a moment to oogle over the dash. Again. I mean, look at it. How could you not? One of the cool things about its installation is how far back into the scuttle it sits compared to the original fiberglass dash. If you look up the side of the scuttle and into the cowl area, you can see the grind marks where the original dash was before I removed it. The new aluminum dash sits about 5 inches deeper into the scuttle than the original dash did. It nips in just in front of where the scuttle and the cowl meet, and being engine turned aluminum, symmetrically shaped, and with that deep setback, it looks so much more authentic to an original Type 35 compared to the old, shallow fiberglass dash that was suspended from the scuttle and curved up into the cowl. Feel free to take a moment and absorb all the awesomeness. Okay, don't get too greedy. Leave some awesomeness for the rest of us.